Welcome to the SOLIDWORKS Electrical Webinar Series. We're going to go ahead and continue with combined electrical mechanical expertise at this point. Let's get right into it. Let's look at the components here for the SOLIDWORKS. We can do these both in the electrical 2D schematic as well as the SOLIDWORKS environment. We'll start ahead here. We're going to have the SOLIDWORKS Electrical on the left and the SOLIDWORKS environment on your right. In our SOLIDWORKS Electrical schematic, we have the ability to organize projects through location. These are transferred all the way through to the SOLIDWORKS environment as well, so I can actually set up where my cabinets are or where all my devices are going to be stored at. You can see those devices are stored in both locations. It is the same location, just the transfer of information from the one environment to the other. So those same components that exist in 2D will then be transferred directly into 3D. If we go ahead and look at this disconnect here, we can see that there are properties that are available, including the manufacturers, which some of this stuff we have actually covered before. At the same time, looking at the same device, it is also transferred into the 3D environment. Those same pop-up windows are available, so that is very easy for you to manage the devices, whether you're working in the 2D or the 3D environments. And it's going to, all that information, if one person has it, the same person or the other person has the same information. In the 3D environment, you also have that availability of a 3D model. Let's take a look at this device here. This device, if I go ahead and look at the properties of this device, you will see that I have a manufacturer associated to it. If by chance, as an electrical or mechanical designer, I decide to actually delete this manufacturer because I want something else, you'll notice that the 3D model always updates immediately and it removes that 3D environment, that 3D component. It still exists in the project because of course you still have it in the schematics, but as far as it being available for an assembly install, it's not available yet. Now this device can then be manipulated either in schematic or in the 3D environment to add a device. So we're going to go ahead here and just look at this device, and you will see here in the schematic, when we take a look at this symbol here, the symbol representing that same component, that it does not have a manufacturer anymore. It is no longer updated. You can see that collaboration continuously dynamically updating so that you do not have to have those design reviews. You don't have to go through all kinds of other types of information here. The mechanical engineer can actually put in the device if that is what is required just by selecting through our libraries. And again, like I mentioned, some of this stuff you have already seen in a previous webinar, but I just wanted to go through it again. You can see that the schematic process is updated and accurate based off of what is showing as far as the visual checks. But once you have that manufacturer, then you can either do one of two things. You can either insert the 3D model that might be assigned to the device. If there's not one assigned, it will actually pick a generic device and resize it to the dimensions that are required from the manufacturer's properties. If either one of those two selections is not to your satisfaction, you also have the ability from inserting from a file, and then you can select your own 3D model to actually put into your assembly, which is representative of that tag that you are working with, and it will resize it based off of the manufacturer's properties in our library. So therefore you have a number of different ways that you can actually handle these components, but you can see how some of this is working. So with those components, you can see the multi-user environment works extremely well. You can eliminate needs for auditing between the environments because of the updating and ensure that everybody has those same parts. Let's look at bill of materials now. The bill of materials, obviously, when you start looking at schematics, is very straightforward because it is a report. So here we have those same pieces. You can see that we can export to Excel, TXT. You can actually generate these as drawings, and here is that device that we just changed in our 3D environment, and it is changed in that report for the schematic. All these devices are still available, but notice it is only the electrical devices. So if we go ahead now to the 3D environment, we'll go ahead, and the way the bill of materials works is it's anything inside the assembly. So as long as the 3D model has been put into the assembly, then the bill of materials will be updated as well. So we'll go ahead and start dropping parts in, and then just skip forward here, so that way we are not having to waste the time of you seeing that over and over again. And here we have a control panel that is complete. Adding a bill of materials in 3D environment is as simple as selecting bill of materials, drop it in, and on that assembly, that is what you have everything available. You have the electrical as well as the mechanical. So you see the hinge pins and some of the cable glands and some of the stuff that was adding, even some of the weldments that are available here. However, normally you do not add a bill of materials to the assembly. That would be more of a drawing, which we will get to here in a minute. So as far as the bill of materials are concerned, as you can see, you've got that improved communications across the design teams, intelligent auditing so that you don't have to worry about those manual processes, and then of course just the ease of creating a drawing. Let's get into that ease of creating that drawing. SOLIDWORKS 3D environment allows for a lot of different things once you have created your assembly. You can come through here and quickly create drawings from those assemblies, and it will take a picture of whatever you are wanting. We'll just go ahead and create a drawing here and grab the actual assembly. You'll notice that you're not having to think a whole lot about this because you can do resizing, you can do just cropping of specific views, making whatever you are wanting to show in your panel layouts very simple. It's not like it takes a lot to actually do, so the time for the actual design ends up being you have more time for the design, and at the same time you don't have to worry that your assembly is not matching your drawing or anything like that, because of course that drawing is automatically updating the minute that your assembly is changing. So even though I'm putting this onto a drawing sheet right now, any type of changes that are made to the assembly, these drawings from the 3D environment are automatically going to update as well, which gives you that added flexibility. As you can see, drawing in a bill of materials is just a snap of a button. What's really nice about the 3D environment is that we can also do things like auto ballooning. This will automatically take into account everything in our bill of materials and then create those auto balloons so that you do not have to do them manually. And this is just part of the 3D environment that's available even in SOLIDWORKS. We can add the marks from the components that came from the 2D schematic because of course of that database that we are using. And as you can see, everything is here. We might want to do a little bit of cleanup just so that it's a little bit easier to read. I didn't want to make these too small. But that gives you a nice detail right there. And then what you can do is one last issue. We're going to do something here that can't be done in the schematic environment, which is a detailed view. And what you can do is any area of your panel, you can go ahead and grab and add a detailing to it. So you can add these to either this sheet or another sheet. And again, those details are going to automatically update. So if I were to delete a device, you would actually see these details also have that device missing. So those the dynamic updating in this case is just fantastic as far as time savings. So with that, integrated bill of materials for mechanical and electrical eliminate costly mistakes, and as well you have that ease of drawings with auto ballooning. So we've shown you a lot of features today that will increase the productivity of your current design process for electrical schematic, but what are the benefits these features will add to your company? Let's take a look at what we've heard from the existing customers. Decreased human error and costly mistakes. Of course, that saves time and money. The consistent documentation, again, saves time and potential oversight when checking. And of course, the reduced risk of manufacturing delays with the better collaboration, the 3D models, and the design rule checks that catch errors in engineering before they go to purchasing and manufacturing. If you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of myself or Dennis, and thank you for joining.